we will not get into a venture unless one of these studies are done. So it's not, Freddie said, Lisa said, it's, an independent party came back, provided this and said that there is a need for a facility like this in this community, regardless of who does it or whatever. So there is a need, that shows us that. Then we go back and there's several different, we talked a lot about partnering, and there's several steps here. So we met a couple weeks back with Lavernia folks. We're meeting here tonight. The next step, I guess, is to kind of get everyone together and kind of formulate a group. Is that?
Correct, yeah. So what we would like to do, we've done the exact same thing. I'm sorry, Tommy, I'll stand on this side. You don't have to turn it back. So what we wanted to do is we've done the exact same presentation with Lavernia. And so now all of you have the information. So the next step, what we'd like to do is create a steering committee. So we have some of you guys and some of them to work together for Wilson County, because what we want to do is what's best for Wilson County. So if we have both groups working together, then we can move forward. So that's what we would like to do, and that's what we propose to be our next step, is to get, and create our steering committee. Because you can't build a building or really embark on a campaign or really embark on some of those things unless we have a steering committee, because again, we're staff and us driving it, we don't live here. You all live in Wilson County and you are the community.
How's your steering committee gonna work? Because obviously the people in Lavernia
Are going on
are going to Lavernia, and the people in Floresville are gonna want
Yeah,
Floresville.
that, you're exactly
So-
right.
So,
And then maybe I can shed some light. So if I could just take a minute, there's not any one cookie cutter approach to this. So we have 10 different facilities. They all are very different. Some are in the city park, and we own the facility, the city owns the building. Some are YMCA owned, some are, every one of them literally are different. Our downtown branch, our DR Sims YMCA, our corporate office is in there. The church owns the entire facility, we operate the property and run the building. The city of Schertz, where we are now, it is a 42,000 square foot facility, and that one, the city of Schertz built that facility, and we had an agreement. It was a 5-year agreement to, at the end of that 5 years, we would, based on that being successful, we would have a revenue share at that point. And so at the end of that 5 years, because now we're going into year 6, they said, oh, now we want to build this natatorium. So they had passed another bond election to build this natatorium. Well, they kind of came back and said, well, we don't have all the money for this natatorium. Would you guys consider being a partner in this? So we said, absolutely. So we sat down, the school district got involved and said, we need somewhere for the kids, for our swim teams. So Samuel Clemens and Steele would now want to swim there, because now they swim in Judson. So they got 16-year-olds driving at 5 o'clock in the morning to Judson to swim. So they got involved. So the school district put $1.65 million into it, the YMCA put $2 million into it, and we're building this natatorium. So now we signed a 20-year agreement to operate that facility. So now we'll run the YMCA, the natatorium, and we put $2 million into that operation. And so that's how that one was formulated. We're currently going through, and this is all, the civil project is not a done deal yet, but we are working on it. We're getting closer to having something done, and I'll just share that with you guys if you don't mind keeping that on your hat for a little bit longer. So the civil project, they have about $8.5 million that they passed a bond, and they bought 80 acres of land right across the street from City Hall, and they're going to build some ball fields, and they want to put a Y there. And so we've partnered with them to, we're coming in, we're getting closer to a contract, so we can build a facility there, put the ball fields there, and we'll operate that facility as well. So there's not any one approach to.
So you can operate and do like a cost sharing later on, so
Exactly.
you break money and you help maintain it,
So we put all the equipment in, we run out, we hire all the staff, we manage things. So the agreement we have is a 5-year deal, because it takes 35 years to get successful, because initially you walk in the door, we'll walk in and we'll put $1.5 million, depending on what it is, $1 million or so in equipment in it. Staff for a 30,000-ish square foot facility will be about $600,000-700,000 a year in staffing. So there's a cost associated for us to just walk in the door with all the equipment and staffing, and then we maintain all the liability. So the city's part is they don't have the liability.
Okay.
They don't have to ramp up. They don't have these big Parks and Rec staff. They don't have all the staff. So we do that for them. So we kind of serve as their Parks and Rec staff, so to speak,
Yeah.
as that
Basically
department.
kind of can fall in line with what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So where we can still get the type of facilities from our survey.
Okay, let me ask you, because I think you all chose your words correctly a while ago, but I think it kind of raised some hair on the back of some necks. When you say a steering committee, I had the impression that the steering committee from Lavernia and the steering committee from Floresville would get together and meet. Is that right?
That's correct.
So my question is this, we talked about this before, we just wanted, because we actually put on the table, we wanted to pay for something like this ourselves and not have Lavernia, but they wanted to do it together, that's what y'all recommended. If we're already moving forward on a project with taxpayer money from Floresville, the concern I see is if we're gonna have Floresville people involved, I'd like to consider it to be a Floresville project, and if we're looking at putting whatever hundreds of thousands, $1 million into a project already, you know, we don't need the steering committee from
Understand.
Lavernia, you know what I mean?
Understand what you're saying, yeah.
So if we're already in that process, and we ask y'all to come join, say, hey, you know, this is the new information, hey, come kind of run it, maybe on the right page, look at how we can partner with that moving forward, because we're already committed to it, I mean, we're already how much in it with the surveys and everything else. Can we create our own steering committee just within Floresville?
You know, that could be what shakes out of this.
I mean, why do we need Lavernia?
We don't need them, basically, I'm saying right now, the way we're moving forward, we don't need Lavernia. If you want to put a YMCA here, we want y'all
Okay,
to be part of us.
sure.
But we're doing something regardless.
Regardless if you come here or not, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But if you wanna be a part of what Floresville's doing, come join us.
Well, and these fellows.
That's what
back
they're
here
here for.
Are,
We've already
we
invested
hired them
$80,000
to create a parks plan for the next 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so we're already ahead of the game. We just
Wow.
wanna give it an
You
18
know,
months.
tonight, they're gonna give us the draft of the final plan. And, you know, you all are welcome, it's a public meeting, you're welcome to stay, but basically, you know, we're running into some issues that you all may be able to help us out. For instance, the city doesn't have the money to maintain parks, particularly new parks, yet we're talking about a couple of new baseball fields. And so whatever city you cited where, you know, it wasn't a burden on the city and it wasn't a this and a that you took that on, we may be able to join hands and get this park built and the sports facility and the Y and have everybody.
I think where you hit the number on the hill
Working hand in hand.
is that the fact that you go in these cities, they don't have the staff, and you can provide the staff.
Right.
And we have the facility, and we have a big event center out there that we're talking about, maybe we did the soil samples in the back, and it has a full gymnasium in it already, and it has extra meeting rooms and things like that, and, you know, we talked about, could you add on to it, I don't know, that depends on the community, because we went out for the community, it's like I said, it's not our decision, it's our community's decision.
Right, and that's really important, that's what's most important to us, is because, as Freddie said earlier, we can't be the big bully YMCA, you need a YMCA, we're coming in, that's not who we are, that's not how we operate. So for us, it's about partnership, it's about having accessibility, so accessibility to community, accessibility of families to the facility, and then the big one is, you guys alluded to a little bit, is dollars. How do we find the money? Because we as a YMCA don't have the money, but in your community, does that exist? You guys just agreed to have an auditor do a special report for you all so you could be eligible to apply for funding and find some federal grants or government grants, whatever the case might be. But it's all of those things. How can we work together? How can we leverage to find those additional dollars? Because we're a charity, right? So we need to fund from the community, from fees, but then also find donors. And everything that we raise or that we make, we put back into the facility.
Do you all, can it be a conclusion that we don't have the steering committee from Lavernia and Floresville meet together, but that we have our own, like Ben said, we're already down the road with this, and so.
I see it as a step back, step forward,
I think we were.
just for where our.
Would you,
You are
would you all embrace that and
So-
accept it or not?
I don't
So-
know whether you have like a, if you talk to the Bernie, they wanna create their own steering committee, go their direction. We wanna create our steering committee, go our direction, and then y'all can decide which one move forward. You might wanna put one in both cities.
Well, I mean, I think you're reading my mind, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I think our conclusion was, and please excuse me if I'm mistaken, but my January meeting with you all was the first meeting that I had ever sat with you all. So our conclusion or our assessment was that you guys wanted to work together, not knowing any beforehand conversation, right? You guys are already moving ahead, you have some things set in place, and you're moving. We did not know that.
We're already spending money, we want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you guys are already moving, we did not know that, so.
Do you guys have the dollars to build this facility?
I think we can get them.
We just deferred an audit to, we need to get it.
You shoot guys?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I think,
I mean, it's like,
not broke.
no, none of us have a pot of
We're
money
not.
sitting here saying, what are we gonna spend this on?
Right.
But we're working with these fellows to try to come up with a plan for the next 2 years on what the public has told us they want.
right,
And yet, that's exactly what you all want to hear from the public. So there may be this joint effort that
yeah.
you scratch our back and we scratch yours and we have a successful program.
It could be very likely, and it could be that perhaps it doesn't, as Freddie shared, it doesn't have to be 39,000 square foot facility. We have some facilities that are really small. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. Again, every community
Well,
is different.
It's not like you can't add on to it. Or get-
Absolutely, we do it
It
in
could be
phases,
designed
and
over
the
that's
whole
the
thing the first day.
best, that's the best way to do it, is to do things in phases.
Cibolo and Bernie are both designed to have 3 different phases. So the first phase is what we're moving.
And that's how they're designing the park situation, exactly, it's phases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, here's where you can, here's where you can afford to be, here's where you need to be, here's where you can afford to be, here's where you want to be, and here's where you need to be in 5 years.
Yeah,
I mean, we're looking at a 100-acre site, but that we want them to tell us how, based on what the public has said, where do you put those things, those
Sure.
soccer fields and those baseball fields and the infrastructure and the parking and all that. But it doesn't mean that we'll build out 100 acres day one. It may be we build out 25 acres, day one, and then we jump to another one. This is financially a very volatile area in that we have this level of income, but God help us all, and I hope it comes true, that Eagle Ford comes back. We're not a drilling site here, but we have lots of people that want to live here, drive 25 miles in a company truck or company